Okay. So with this worksheet, we're talking about incomplete and codominance. So we're going to do a couple of questions on that. And then I have a couple other worksheets that will talk about epistasis as well and kind of review the dihybrid process as well a little bit. So the first thing that they ask, and this is a pretty common question that I have asked on almost every test, I think, is what is the difference between incomplete and codominance? And there's lots of answers to this, but a lot of the time I like to think about you focusing in on, if you were a breeder or if you're breeding plants, what would that, how would you tell the difference between codominance? It does not want to let me type in that box. Okay, so how would you tell the difference is really what I want to see. So in terms of incomplete dominance, we're usually talking about two alleles that work together to form a third phenotype. So in incomplete dominance, the two alleles in a heterozygote work together to form a new phenotype that is either unique or between or an intermediate of the homozygous types. So for example, in the flowers we have the red flower and the white flower, and then together they form an intermediate flower type. There we go. And hello, Samantha and Renee. And then in the codominance case, the heterozygote has a phenotype with both allele traits, not a new trait. So that's where we have that roan cow has the white and the red. It's not a pink cow. It's a white and a red trait. They might be in a patterned situation. There might be patterning or something, but both traits are being expressed. Both traits are being fully expressed. It's probably expressed. I'll fix that in post. Okay. So here's the classic Snapdragon problem. This person has chosen to go with this worksheet creator has chosen to go with the RW notation, even though we like personally to use RR prime. And I'm going to fix all that. Okay. You don't have a copy of this worksheet anyway, so I can do whatever I want. So if we have a phenotype of a plant with only the red alleles, we would get a red plant. And the phenotype of a plant with only the white alleles will be white. I'm going to rewrite that as this because it's not very clear. And the phenotype of the intermediate or the heterozygous is the pink. And it was the exact same example we did in our own work. So we'll predict the offspring when two pink 4 o'clock flowers are crossed. What is the predicted genotype and ratio? I think we've done that question 1,000 times already. I really wish they'd come up with a new question, but sometimes this is what happens, is that there's really only so many different ways to do this question. Okay, so two red alleles, a red and a white allele, a red and a white allele, and two white alleles. Any questions on that one? This is the same example question we did a long time ago. Long time ago? I guess it's like earlier this week. It's not that long ago. So one red, two pinks, and one white. All right. a pink flower is crossed with a white flower plant. What is the possibility? What is the probability of producing a pink flowered plant, a red flower plant, and a white flower plant? I like these kind of questions too. They kind of play around with your knowledge of probabilities a little bit. So you have a pink flowered plant. So that means that they must, so this is also testing that you remember that pink flowers only happen in the heterozygote. And then you're crossing it with a white plant, which means that you only have the white allele. So whenever we multiply a heterozygous by a homozygous, we are going to end up in a situation where we're going to get exactly half of the plants will be one type, and the other half will be the other type. And I'll use pink maybe, which, depending on your screen, that might not show up very differently at all, but I'll make that one more red. And I can prove that to you because these are both going to carry the red allele, and these ones will carry the white allele from the white plant, and these ones will carry, oh, did I lie? I did lie. I'm sorry. These are pink plants. What am I doing? Okay. Doesn't matter. I'm sure you're not highlighting at home. Okay. There we go. So in this example, we see that half of the plants are pink, so that would be 50%. Half of them are not red, or none of them are red, so that would be a 0%. And half of them are white. Okay. Not very exciting. Let's try to get away from the pink plants, because that's the one we always do. This is interesting. So what cross produces the most pink flowered plants? Any ideas? Hopefully at home you're all shouting out to your screens so quietly I can't hear you, that it is the red and white plant will cross to form the most pink flower plants, because this will give you 100% pink. All right, let's try these last three are some different colors. So a homozygous black bird is crossed with a homozygous white bird. The offspring are all bluish gray. Cross a black bird and a bluish gray type. What are the genotype ratios and percents? So they are saying that we have a black bird who crosses and forms with a white bird, which we're going to call blue prime or black prime, and we get blue gray. And we get 4 of those. And if we take these blue-gray and we cross it with a blackbird, what kind of colors do we get? And hopefully you can see that this is almost identical to this question above. We get black, 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 blue, gray, blue, gray. So in this way, it seems to suggest, to me at least, that these intermediate phenotypes should be pretty popular in your population. Because if you cross the pure breeds, the homozygous, you get 100% of that intermediate color. If you cross an intermediate with a homozygous, you get 50% of them being the intermediate color. So your population should generally be shifting towards that intermediate. Makes me wonder about things like, human hair color is not exactly incomplete dominance, but it's sort of similar, and that kind of is why brown hair would be kind of like the intermediate color that would be popular all around, or brown eyes are kind of intermediate to the other ones. So that sort of also not necessarily black dogs, but like brownish or dark brown dogs, all those sorts of other traits we kind of see common in animals and things. I guess that's why red roses might be so special, is because they must be homozygous to keep them red. That's So here we have a 50% B, 50% B, which is also equal to black and equal to our blue-gray. What result if a white individual is crossed with a blue-gray individual? Well, that's just going to be the reverse ratio, right? You could probably cheat, or I can cheat at least, is I can just bring this down here. Oops, I'm going to shrink it a little bit so it fits, but I'll zoom in for you. So if we shrink down here, he's all white, and we can realize that we are going to just simply do this. We're going to flip it, right? So these are now the blue-gray ones, and the other ones are the white ones, I guess. And so we just kind of flip it. We get almost essentially the same ratio. But we now have white instead, and 50% blue-gray. And we don't even have to do the last one because that's the exact same heterozygous cross. Okay, so let's check in on some codominance, make sure those are going fine. So in codominance, we have a shorthorn cattle, which shorthorn cattle, when a red bull is crossed with a white bull, their offspring are roan. Boring. We did that one before. Okay, let's do the chickens. All right, we've done so many roan cattle. We had roan cattle in our examples. There's got to be some other example that we can use. So these are the erminette chickens. This is another famous example of codominance. If you've never seen an erminette chicken, they are exactly what you would expect if I said that this is a codominant chicken for white and black. And there they are. That's the erminette chicken. So they are pretty cool, actually. I've seen them not looking as nice as this before. But here's an erminette. Oh, it's a nice looking chicken. There we go. So with the erminette chicken, we have an allele for black and an allele for white. What's the genotype of black chickens? Well, that's going to be, and now we are going to use capital letters because we do want to indicate that both are dominant. So that will be our black chicken. This one will be our white chicken. Both are capitals. And this will be our erminette chicken. Any questions about that? Nod, thumbs up. Okay. So we're going to take that erminette chicken and we're going to cross those two. So hopefully not too boring across here. Erminette chicken, I guess. And we're going to get black, black, and black, white. So one question that's kind of interesting is, should you charge more money for erminette chickens? Because in a way, you can't purebreed erminette chickens, right? They're heterozygotes. So every time you go to cross them, you end up in the same situation where you have 25% of your chickens are black, 25% are white, and the 50% are the erminette. So I don't know. It's a sort of an economic question. Are erminette chickens worth more or worth less? Because you can't just breed them purely like you could with black chickens or white chickens. Black chickens, you could just take a bunch of black chickens and cross them and keep getting black chickens. You have to engage in a special breeding program to get the erminette, where 50% of your chicks are not the color you want. I guess you could trade them with somebody maybe. If you, of course, match a black and white chick together, then the result will be all black and white. So I suppose it wouldn't be too difficult to keep your ratio pretty high for those erminites. I'm gonna have to look up how to pronounce that. I think I've said it in 5 different ways already. Anybody live on a chicken farm? Know how to pronounce erminite? Erminette? All right. Straight hair and curly hair are also codominant traits, and this can result in wavy hair. So if you cross a curly-haired female with a wavy-haired male, so curly hairs is CC, then we can see that the result would be CS, or I guess they weirdly put SC, SC, or no, CC, and CC. Now this is funny because in my case, my wife and I have very straight hair, and our 2 children, one of them is displaying some definite. Am I muted? That's good to know. Okay, let me double check if it's on my side. I did have a mute problem earlier. I had a mute problem earlier. Okay, I'll be right back. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh. Have I been not I wonder if the whole video is me quiet.
It's been quiet for quite some time.
Okay.